PL
I think Phantom Lancer is good because
PL
Phantom Lancer is great versus Spirit Breaker and Disruptor.
Absolutely.
You can dodge their spells with Doppelganger.
And Hao is incredible on that hero. I think it's like when a lot of teams weren't really picking the new PL, VG Gaming were like first picking it because they were so confident in Hao's ability. So I think it's definitely the most likely third or fourth pick here for VG Gaming.
All right. Well, Vichi's running down their clock quite a bit, and
That's something new. I think that's a first in this event.
Yeah, definitely on the mainstream. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was the first throughout the event. Okay, well, I mean, filling out their support roles for sure.
That's really odd, but because usually you have Venge because you want to. I guess it's good versus Spirit Breaker when he's focusing. I mean, they have Wyvern for that anyway.
Yeah.
So. But they're on Dire, so Venge does serve her purpose on the Roshan factor, I guess.
So what if you Winter's Curse Spirit Breaker when he's charging in? And then so that Dazzle can't grave him, you swap Dazzle into Spirit Breaker, so he starts hitting him instead.
Is it still not?
It's very far-fetched.
But it's a possibility.
But it's a possibility.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
Watch it happen 4 times in a row.
That would be pretty epic. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with seeing that 4
I
times
would
in
like
a row.
to see that though, actually. And situational play.
Right now, they don't have enough physical damage to really warrant a Vengeful Spirit pick. So
They still haven't picked their carry.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I mean, quite a few options left, of course, for carry specifically.
They might actually go for, like Tide Hunter because they banned Rubik, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like it's just a random thought that came up to my mind. And they have a lot of minus armor going on with Tide and Venge for the Roshan.
Oh, that's another angle we haven't talked about. Focusing on what else you can do for the Roshan. Ember coming back.
Here we go again.
Lots of Ember yesterday, earlier in the day too.
Ember Dazzle too.
Yeah,
More or
Ember
less.
Dazzle too. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that has, as you mentioned earlier, that's what's allowing Ember to really reappear quite a bit.
They don't really have any direct lockdown for the Ember. Like the Venge stun is sometimes not that reliable when he has the Remnant behind, so they don't have good tools against the Ember right now.
Until Wyvern ult.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the only one.
Yeah, and it's not.
But it's not that
reliable.
instant. Yeah, it's not reliable. It's not easy to get it on the Ember if he has a Remnant behind.
So, 5 seconds left. I guess by the time I finish my question, we're going to find out. I was about to ask you if do they show their carry or
The disruptive offlaner.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming out.
They actually have really poor tools for dealing with an Undying offlane, I think.
Yeah.
Disruptor and Dazzle
Very
are pretty
difficult.
weak. And Ember, they could possibly win a Wyvern Undying lane against this Tri-lane, I think. That's how weak the Empire safe lane is. Or, if they run an aggressive Tri-lane, it's just hands down a win for VG Gaming.
Right.
And they have the options right now, because Queen of Pain could technically safe lane and they can last pick a mid. Hao, I believe, does play a really good Queen of Pain, if that is what they plan to do. Or, I don't think you want to put PL one-on-one against Spirit Breaker. I don't think that's a nice lane to
No,
play. So.
I don't think that's a good idea as well. Like, Spirit Breaker will be able to bully PL in the lane if that happens.
So Vici looking for carry or carry to fill out their lineup, and Empire banning out that PL. Just still didn't want to deal with it at all, not leaving that possibility open.
They actually did have the counter pick with the Ember. So. But playing it safe.
Yeah, just again, I mean, that's what we've seen generally, right? With last bans, it's at that point, just play whatever you think is safest. You both teams rather have relatively shown your hands at this point.
Finally, the SF ban. Fifth.
That's another, very safe ban away. Don't want to take that chance. So what more does Empire need?
They need burst damage, because Spirit Breaker is going to charge someone on Empire. The Ember catches someone. They need a follow-up damage because Dazzle and Disruptor doesn't do damage as supports. So they need a core that deals instant damage, something like a nukes as hard as a Zeus.
Spirit Brothers.
That's good damage.
Breaker
Yeah, that's still good damage.
Spirit Breaker and 2 spirits, you're right.
And it's a resolution hero as well. But there are 2 defensive supports on VG Gaming side that could deal with a Storm Spirit initiation very well.
I was thinking Empire could have actually tried in this game to go for a Quaswex Invoker, and that could have been a
I
really
always
interesting pickup.
I always like the Invoker for Empire, but then I don't think they scale well enough.
Yeah, like with the Storm, it's like you're more secured if the game goes late because you don't have last pick and VG Gaming have the last pick. And being the team that you can't pick last, so you tend to focus on picking someone that goes later in the game.
Yeah, and
That's
then
not what I expected.
Yeah, because Rupture doesn't do anything to Ember and Storm when they are flying around.
Yeah.
right.
And even in Sleight of Fist, you're also invulnerable. So
Yeah.
there's actually plenty of ways of dealing with it. It is great against Spirit Breaker. If you
Right,
rupture
I was
while
just
he's
about to
charging it,
say, like, is that maybe
well-
just the go-to right now for VG Gaming? Is just, hey, Spirit Breaker, your charge relatively not going to be useful because we have all these ways to deal with it.
This makes me think they wanted PL, because I don't think this is the optimal pick, and it looked like they were just running out of time.
That's
I think
true.
they could have easily picked it over like Venture.
Yeah,
on time,
I mean, they
though.
could have picked the PR a
They
lot
could have easily
earlier,
picked
though.
PL.
That's true.
Maybe the Embers pick kind of scared them a little bit. It's like,
Yeah,
they can even drive one more PL count after this. So.
Oh, that's true. All right. Well, VG Gaming, perhaps they were pushed into the corner a little bit, but at the end, taking that Bloodseeker, something we weren't expecting too much. At the same time, Empire, do you guys feel a little bit better about Empire's draft in Game 2?
Well, I honestly think they've been drafting fine in both games. So
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
the draft
about
is
who plays
not...
better.
All right, well, we'll find out. Game 2, Empire, can they tie it up, or is VG Gaming going to run away with the 2-0?
Allow them to get mobile on the map.
He's
It's-
strong versus Spirit Breaker as well, for
It's-
obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's good against both the supports as well because those aren't inherently tanky supports, and I actually think Bloodseeker isn't terrible against Storm because in some ways, if your entire team is low and the Bloodseeker can just right-click you out of the fight, then it's probably not too bad.
All right. Well, of course, we want to welcome in everybody who's joining us now on the main stream. Vici Gaming facing up against Team Empire. Game number 2 going to be casted by myself, Dota Capitalist, as well by Blitz, who is a Storm Spirit Master. So, as the laning phase is about to come to fruition here, and we're not going to be seeing any fighting over bounty runes, at least doesn't seem like it, Blitz, drop them 7k knowledge bombs. How does this go between Bloodseeker and Storm Spirit?
I've only played this matchup like 5 times. I think, especially with the new Bloodseeker. I don't even play Storm that much. Only like 350 games or something like that.
So I hype up your incredibly good Storm Spirit analysis, and you lead with, I've only played this matchup 5 times.
Yeah, well, because Bloodseeker in general isn't really a mid-hero that you see often.
No.
But I think this is in response to what everybody's showing. But if Resolution gets this bounty rune, he should be fine because he's going to bring himself a salve, is what I would imagine. Yeah, he's doing that right now. And then the key here is that Bloodseeker, though, is so dangerous because if your offlane gets low or your safe lane gets slow at all, like one of the supports gets traded off, then the Bloodseeker just runs at you and you can't really do much. Like even the Remnant's not going to deter you very much. And so I think that's part of the reason why you can get away with doing this dual lane, right? Because you want to keep that top lane as full to HP as possible. And if you notice that Super's gone for both a Quelling Blade and a Poor Man's Shield, so it's really hard for the Storm to deny him very much. So what you actually have to do is whenever Resolution has a chance, he can't really... You can't just right-click the Bloodseeker non-stop because you're not going to trade efficiently because he'll just CS in front of your face. But the key is that you have to actively deny, and in the time period where Super can't get CS or denies, you have to right-click him as much as possible. Like, you notice that Resolution is moving up on him constantly, and now he's going to Remnant, and he's forcing him away. You see that?
Yep.
And so Super now is in a position where he doesn't have enough HP to fight against this.
Oh my god, he's almost going to
He's
die
actually,
here.
Storm has terrible move speed, but you notice that is that every single time, instead of going for one or the other, he pushes up with the wave, and it makes it difficult for Super to do what he wants, which is just sit in the middle of the wave. So now he has to ferry himself regen, and now there's going to be a full wave or two where Resolution can pretty much do whatever he wants, and once you get the bottle with Storm Spirit, you're pretty much dandy in this lane. Like, you can actually kill the Bloodseeker at a pretty reasonable time.
Yeah, this is a very momentum-based 1-versus-1, right? Like, once somebody gets a slight edge on the other, like, for example, the Storm Spirit with that last play damaging the Bloodseeker and bringing him low, he's then able to just aggressively push him out of lane, and the Bloodseeker can't rely. Now, bottom lane, Silent's going to be dropping low, will end up going down for the first blood. Winter Wyvern and the Undying. We're already putting so much pressure on this Ember Spirit, but now they're able to pick up an early kill on him. Good setup for Vici Gaming already, it seems, for
Super's
some
dead.
of their lanes, but... Yep, Super going to be run out. Resolution finds that one, so even up that kill score 1-1.
That's even more significant as a mid laner. Then you don't really care if you get first blood or not, but the fact that you're able to solo kill the enemy mid means you're going to get a full level and experience over him, and you'll just get boots faster at the same time. And so that's probably even more worth it than getting the first blood is for Vici Gaming.
The charge comes out. Fenrir. Oh, 17%. Fenrir gets bashed one time.
No, he's
the
not gonna
second
get bashed
time will
again.
ensure the kill.
Ice Frog.
Another right click. That's all they really need. Fenrir trying to juke his way through the trees, but they don't even need the bash. They get 2 more right clicks, and that will ensure the death. And Hao's now going to be pushed away by Yoki. Of course, the Bloodseeker is getting advantage out of Always Want to Fly being quite low. In fact, Hao, whoa, there comes a quick bash out. Hao, he's got to be real careful here. He has to make the blink away, but now the charge is there. Hao, he's done for. Another right click, and of course, the bash to finish things off. It wasn't even needed, but Yoki likes to end things on style here as he gets a double kill. Back over to the middle lane, we watch Super drop quite low, as again, he just misses out on one of those right clicks and takes that remnant damage, and he's immediately dropping to very low HP.
The thing that's scary about the Bloodseeker, this is like the last thing I want to say about the matchup, because I don't want to just give an introductory course to playing mid, but every single time that Super misses a CS and he's in that position, it pretty much puts him within the kill threshold of the Storm Spirit, so he has to be really careful.
Yeah,
every single time he comes up.
Yeah, pretty much every single time he goes for a Blood Rage and challenges the Storm Spirit when he remnants down in order to get that CS, he cannot afford to miss that CS. Otherwise, he's going to be in some serious trouble. His resolution is the silence has already been laid out. Super is able to run him down. Another right click, bottle up, resolution. He's good for one more. FY finally is able to get the kill and will be able to survive on top of that. FY gets away and now makes it a clean 3-3. Notice also that FY chose to go for the 2 levels of Arctic Burn very early on and not a level of Cold Embrace. Very offensive build by him.
Yeah, I think going for that is just overall better right now in this situation because he's trying to get aggressive on all the lanes and he wants to help out Super. He has to. In this type of situation where you're just leaving your Bloodseeker to try to catch up by himself, it's never going to happen because there's 0 kill potential from Super on the Resolution. If Resolution gets ruptured, then he'll just roll away.
Right.
And the silence will never hit. So he has to go before Resolution hits level 6. And Resolution has been playing really aggressively in this lane because he's trying to establish dominance. So it's just such a good play by FY to come at that timing. And he might even hit another really sick timing if he goes right now before Resolution